Hey, 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 hello, fellow 3D printers. I am J Wall, Print That Thing, and this is Amber, my lover lady, Amber Jams. How you doing today, Amber?
I'm good. I just woke up from a nap.
Well, good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Woo. Put my headphones in. Today we are going to be talking about the future.
Future. We're not talking about future today.
No, today we're talking about just tips or 5 reasons why you should be learning 3D print design if you're not. So,
And kind of the excuses we've given ourselves
yes.
on how to learn a new skill and why just having a 3D printer shouldn't just be enough.
Right. I know there may be some people out there that have a printer and it's just sitting there getting. You're only using a certain percentage of that machine. Like, you could be using it for so many more things because it's an amazing machine. And so today we're going to be talking about that.
Yes.
And Amber still hasn't fully come around to full 3D print design, but she is very, very, very good at 3D design, just like animation and things like that. But last week she made a large penis condom dispenser, and
I was very proud of that one.
it's very good. If you missed that, go check out last week's episode, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, let's go ahead and before we dive in, if you are watching out there, if you have any questions that you want addressed, go ahead and put those in the chat or in the comments below, and we'll talk about that later in this episode or on the next episode. So, don't be bashful. But before we dive in, we're going to have a word from our sponsors. We have lovely sponsors over at ptt.live, which is our company because we don't have sponsors. So let's go ahead and cut to our sponsor, our supporter.
Our second episode is brought to you by Print That Thing, a growing online community that seeks to unite the 3D print designers of the world. We offer community-only Discord, online courses, news, and monthly inspiration challenges. We want to bring together designers with years of experience as well as the newbies just setting out on their design adventures. Visit us today at ptt.live for more information.
That was beautiful.
Thanks.
Yes. So I guess before we get started, Amber, is there any reasons you think people should learn 3D print design? Are you kind of against it? Are you like whatever, or what do you think?
I'm not against it. I think that there's an element of kind of feeling daunting when you're first learning 3D design, or you think you're going to, and you kind of figure out that, oh crap, there's a lot that I have to fill my brain with. It's scary, but once you get started, it's not that difficult.
Everything's scary.
But I think, 3D print design for me, like I said in the last episode, I'm more interested in it in terms of product and merchandising that I am developing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm semi-interested. But I think for 3D design in general, once you learn a software for 3D design, you can pretty much bounce around to the other ones, which is cool. 3D is also something that once you learn that skill, you can kind of start using it for multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started, I was doing illustration, but eventually kind of realized, oh, I can do this for game design, and I can do this
VR.
for virtual reality, and I can do this for animation, and it kind of opened a lot of doors for me in terms of creativity and professionally and all that stuff.
Well, perfect, because that's my first topic, actually. The first reason I think you should learn 3D print design is that it promotes creative problem solving. I think, kind of what you just said. Being able to, think of ideas and then, like, I guess example for me, like when I first got started as a 3D print designer, my whole thing was like, because I come from a film background.
Sorry.
That's really loud. Sorry about that. She's just adjusting her mic there.
There. Does that sound better?
Yeah, that's good. But no, like, I came from a film background, so I was like, oh, this would be a cool way to make, like, attachments for cameras and stuff. Like, that was why I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect, you know, because you always need some kind of problem solving. So I think it just promotes problem solving, and that's the first reason I think everyone should learn.
Your initial thought was problem solving for camera attachments, not like props for movies.
No, I didn't think about that. I was more like things that I can mount cameras to, or like, oh, I need something that holds like a weird microphone to this camera, or to a GoPro, or to a big camera. That's
cool.
Yeah, so that was my first kind of.
But also props for movies.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's even better. Like props for movies. I mean, we ended up doing that. We did it for Janet. We did a thing for NASA for Janet for like this kids space show, and we ended up like 3D printing rocket ships, and I don't know if we did the planets by hand, I think, but
we did puppet eyeballs.
Yeah, puppet eyeballs. Like, I mean,
a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, there's like stuff you couldn't buy. So I think that's what's cool, is like knowing that you can make things that are seemingly impossible. You know, if you know 3D print design, or just 3D design in general, then you can make that come into reality.
Especially if you're a creative human being and you have kind of like, I need a thing and a widget to do this, this, and this, and then you Google it and you realize the thing that you would need to purchase that might work would be way too expensive.
Or it doesn't exist.
So you can just create it, or you can save yourself some cash. So that's pretty awesome.
Definitely. Hey, what's up, Mike Russo? So we got Mike Russo in the chat. Welcome. What's up? Mike Russo is actually one of our students, and he is blowing my mind. He just made a toy car. It was for week 3, and he went above and beyond.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And made like this super duper truck. Like, it's insane. But welcome, Mike Russo.
Hello, Mike.
Yes. And so that brings us into topic number 2 for why you should learn 3D print design. Because we kind of talked about this last week too, Amber, but you begin to see the world around you in a completely different way, I think. Have you noticed that? Amber made this thing for her phone, but did you feel that, or you feel like, I mean, okay, or is it just as far as in just design? Do you feel like it makes you think about the world differently, or see things?
So when I first started doing 3D design just for in the computer and not bringing it into the world, I definitely was looking at objects differently and going, oh, that's just a cube with some bevel, or a little extrusion and all that kind of stuff, and kind of going into kind of thinking about product differently, and how people have, like, everything that you have, you kind of take it for granted, and everything has been
somebody had to make that,
designed it.
And
I don't think that was ever really a realization until I started 3D designing for myself, or for content inside of movies or whatever. So that was an interesting kind of shift, mind shift. So I'm sure it's definitely, obviously different when you start doing it for 3D printing.
Yeah, once it comes into the real world, I think it is one thing. Like, one of my buddies, Magruder, is just now learning Blender, but he's doing it more for just like cool visual graphics and stuff.
CGI.
CGI. But then he like messaged me the other day, and he's like, dude, you making trees in a forest. And he was like, you guys should like map out your forest and like make things and make plans. And I was like, Amber's already doing it. She's already doing it, and it doesn't cost anything, you know. So we can externalize these ideas and get things out. Hey, what's up, Mike? Never Let the Machines Win is in the chat. He is also one of our students. Thank y'all guys for coming out and supporting. Yeah. We are actually in the 3D printing wagon today. We are, if you're listening on the podcast, we are inside of an old 1974 yellow pickup truck with some 3D printers in the back, with a camper shell on top. I don't know what you call this thing. Yeah, camper shell. Some kind of
I don't know what it's
thing
called.
on the back. Yeah.
Not
but yeah,
like
welcome, Mike. Thanks y'all for coming. Hopefully the stream's not dying too much for y'all. We're out in the middle of the woods, so we're trying to get all the Wi-Fi we can get.
Soaking it up.
But yeah, hopefully it's going good. But like I was saying about my buddy, he was like, you know, you stuff in you know, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that he's starting to see things differently. Yeah, and I can tell. And he's only been doing it like a day or two. And then for me, like I would just notice things like I would walk into places or even going like to the hardware store. I'd be looking at something, they'd be selling it for $5, $10, $20, and I was like,
I can make that.
yeah, I can make that in like 5 seconds and have it, like, and then have unlimited supply of it.
That then also opens up the conversation of like, when you do go into a store, what can you make yourself?
Yeah, totally.
An intellectual property. So we should do a.
Oh yeah, and photogrammetry. No one's talking about that. Like, literally, people are going to have. I mean, they can already, but people are going to be scanning things with their phones. I mean, look, there's 3 lenses on this camera. People are going to be able to scan things in reality. Go into a store and scan things, and it's like, where does that legal line apply for what you can steal from reality? For people who aren't designers, I mean, it's going to be nuts. And well, that is another topic, but we'll go ahead and go into the third topic, or the reason I think people should learn 3D print design is that you can create things for fun or for passive income or active income. So I think that's like a very fun. I mean, it's like I think most people think of it as a hobby.
Yeah.
But any entrepreneurs out there, you can definitely take this and make some passive money or some active income or turn it into an actual career, which is what I'm trying to do. Still on the up and up, but it is possible, I think, and especially so in the future.
Yeah, especially thinking about digital content in terms of the internet. I mean, the internet has shifted so many different industries, and 3D printing is the one that's going to shift manufacturing on a level that I don't think anyone's really looking at from outside of our niche bubble.
IKEA kind of has dabbled in it. Like they have like replacement parts that you can get off their website.
Right.
And I feel like once Amazon kind of gets into it too, where you can get parts just straight off. But I think it's still super early, but which is why it seems like a good time to me to get in. So
it's a good time to start learning to 3D design right now, because the technology is going to just continue to get better and better. So, and it's like there's so many people that are investing even on a larger scale in terms of like bigger companies that are doing 3D printing for rapid prototyping. That's their printers that they've had, for years are slowly going into commercial markets now. So it's one of those things where eventually we'll have, microwave shaped device in
I don't
our
know
houses.
when that would be. Yeah.
But the person that's doing the designs is the one's going to get paid, not the people who are putting together or building the 3D printers.
Yeah, whoever's pushing the button. I really do believe that the money will be in the design. That's why I'm trying to get as many designer friends and teach as many designers too, so you can all kind of enjoy that in the future.
Yeah.
Mike said, hi. 1974 truck. He was 12 years old. That's amazing.
It's beautiful.
Sorry, yeah. So the stream may be buffering a little bit, but so we apologize for that.
We're gonna get better internet.
Yeah, we'll get some fiber one day. And then the fourth reason that I think people should learn 3D print design is kind of in line with the last one, but it's to have a high-paying skill, so that if you do want to create or work for a client, you can charge anywhere from $50, $75 to $100 an hour or more. Like I currently charge $100 an hour if a client wants me to do some designing, because they're asking a lot of you, and you're essentially building their intellectual property. But
it's also a skill that they don't have that they need you for, and it's one of those things where if you have a high income skill, it's like, try going to someone who actually works at a prototyping company. They're going to charge you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, totally.
And it's like, if you're going to take the time to learn it, I mean, you've been doing it for how long? 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've invested the time to get better at this skill set, so you do eventually develop a higher capability of making their ideas happen in real life, and that's something that people have to pay for.
Yeah, and
but
it's really fun.
I'm also a freelancer, so I'm like, deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people are going to push back, and they're not going to want to pay you.
But those aren't your clients.
Yeah, and those are the people you do not want to work with. If they're trying to lowball you, like for like $50 or $20, just tell them to come take my class, and they can. That's what I tell people. If someone's like, man, I didn't know it was going to be that expensive, like, And then I'm like, that's always my backup. Is like, hey, well, you can learn how to do this for free. Start the first week is free, and they don't want to do that. Most people don't want to do that. So that's why they're coming to pay you.
Exactly.
And what else? I had another guess.
Another guess?
No, another point on that. What about you for as far as like 3D design? Do you feel like you would feel comfortable charging money for just 3D design, since it's not actually being printed out into the real world as a prototype?
I mean, definitely. I think that we've paid people. I've worked for other people who have wanted concepts designed, and you pay $300 for a glass bottle.
Oh, yeah.
There's and it wasn't even that great now that I look, because I didn't know anything about 3D design, so we hired a 3D designer to create this prototype. And looking back at it now that I know what was involved, I was like, man, that guy clicked around for like less than 15 minutes and got paid some cash.
Yeah. And that's true too. I mean, it does look very complicated if you are 3D designing something for somebody, especially if they don't know anything about that industry or that type of technology. Like even that GoPro rig over there, like it only took probably 4 or 5 hours, but it would look to someone else, I think, that it would take a few days or weeks to do.
Right.
And it is because, and Amber knows, it is a great gift making machine.
Yeah.
Christmas, birthday parties, anything, housewarming gifts. Like I've made so many gifts, or I'll just be 3D printing something, and then I know I'm going to go visit one of my friends, and I'm like, oh wow, they would love this. They would think this is so cute and adorable. And then I'll just bring it with me and give it to them, and they're like, oh my gosh. So, they freak out. And so, or Christmas, if money's tight, you can be like, I'm going to make them a custom thing, and that will help them with this thing that they love, or finding something off Thingiverse, I'm into giving away gifts as long as you're not selling other people's designs. But I think as a gift, then it's totally cool,
right.
to 3D print somebody else's design and
like
gift it. Yeah, Amber, you tell them about yours where you did your family for or you were going to.
Oh, this is before I knew anything about 3D printing, and Jason had been printing things. I was like, I can do that. I know 3D design.
Right.
And I started, and I was doing lithopanes, but using, I guess there used to be a website that would automatically do it for you, but the way that it built out, it didn't work out. No, shit.
But she had the idea, and it could have worked if she had the skills at the time. But I mean, it's just endless. So those are my 5. Let us know in the chat if anyone has any questions or anything they think is a good tip for new people or people that just have a printer sitting around, and kind of a reason why they should learn 3D print design. So while y'all are thinking, or you got something?
What do you think like the options are for learning? I know that I did a lot of learning on like YouTube for a little while when I first started out, and then I just kind of got frustrated kind of learning the same couple of tools 8,000 different ways. And so I eventually settled in like doing Udemy courses. There's that big just general
with
Blender
those 2 guys. Yeah,
dudes from the UK,
great.
which was awesome because it did a lot of kind of, here's a new tool and this is how you're gonna learn things, and then you can compound on that information. And so it's like obviously we're biased because I think myself that like learning from one person and kind of then going to the next person, you're gonna learn a bunch of different skills and options for learning 3D design,
right,
for 3D printing. Do you think that there's other outlets out there right now to learn that kind of stuff, or do you think that it's more of a share and tell community? Or
I think the 3D print community is definitely more share and tell. I don't really see many workshops or tutorials. I mean, there's tutorials for 3D print, but not for like Blender for what we're doing. But there's definitely on Tinkercad and Autodesk and Fusion. So I think there's plenty out there to learn. It's really just throwing yourself in there, and I think
picking one.
Yeah, and I think everybody learns different ways. Like me, I'm like a guerrilla learner, so I'm like, I'll learn. I'll drop thousands of dollars on classes, $100 on online courses. I'll buy expensive software if I feel the need, or watch 700 different YouTube videos. I mean, just to get one thing, like one project. I could be working on a project for a client and watch 20 different things and then patching it all together in my head. But some people don't learn like that. I do.
Yeah. Do you think that so when you do go in to learn how to design something, do you use other tutorials that aren't necessarily meant for 3D design?
Oh,
and then
totally.
You kind of reverse engineer it or make it manifold so that you can?
Yes.
So is that like a workaround for people who maybe can't afford online classes or anything like that?
Yeah, totally. I think just get as creative as you can. Like, just try shit and trial and error. And we have a class online that just pretty much teaches you how to use a tool, the Blender tool, to make something manifold. That's really all you need, is to just close it up and then it can be printed.
That's cool.
I mean, easier said than done. It is tricky.
It's way easier said than done because I've screwed up a lot of things.
I don't know. I think everybody learns in their own different style, but those are the 5 reasons that I think people should learn, because I feel like I read something too that they did some survey. It was like some credit card company or something did a survey like with younger people, like what's going to be the coolest job, like a superpower. They'll be like, I can make it. Yeah, I can make anything. Like somebody comes up to me and they're like, oh hey man, can you make a and I'm like, yes
I can.
I don't even know what they were gonna say, but I'm like, yes, I probably can. Like, that's how confident I feel on my abilities. But I know I can't make literally everything.
But you can.
But I can get pretty damn close. So.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say earlier. I had a mental fart the other second ago. But when you're working for a client, that's one of the best things too, is just blowing their minds. Like, they think like they're gonna get something that's like at a level 2 or 3, and they're going to be really happy with that. But then like kind of going above and beyond and giving them something that's like at a level 10 or 11 or 12, and they're like, whoa, like this is crazy awesome. Like that just feels really good. And so that's what they should pay. What
the emotional reward is worth it.
Yeah, totally. That was what I had earlier too.
I like that.
But yeah, you want to go ahead and hit them with our second sponsor?
Yes. I would love to know the individuals in the chat if you guys have any other reasons to learn 3D design. I think that getting as many discussions started about what you feel were the benefits of learning 3D design, or why you think that you need to learn 3D design. I think that would be some interesting shares.
What is that urge? Why did y'all even come? Like some of these people in the chat, Mike and Mike.
The Mikes.
Yeah, we have the Mikes and the Jonathans. They all take our courses. But
next it'll be all the Susans.
Yes. I wish more girls would design. Any girls out there? Like, this is like, I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like many girls like 3D design for 3D printing. I don't know what it is. It's like mainly a dude thing.
I don't think that it's, that's a
it's like, we'll have a whole podcast on that. It's like 25% to 75%.
I don't think that it's necessarily that girls don't want to. I don't think that we realize that we have the option. But that's a whole social political
we'll do
conversation
but you do.
That we can discuss later.
Ladies, get your design on and 3D print that thing.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do our second sponsor placement.
By us.
Yeah. This episode of the Print That Thing podcast is brought to you by PTT.live, a growing online community that seeks to unite the 3D print designers of the world. As a thank you for tuning in this far into the podcast in celebration of the commercial holiday of love. Nope, it's not Valentine's Day anymore. But, the day of love.
Yeah,
is every day.
We still got love.
We'd like to offer our listeners a 50% discount code for any of our online courses. Use code podcastlove, all one word, at checkout. Visit podcast.ptt.live for more information. Bum, 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 bum.
Podcast love. Yes. So cool. Well, yeah. Thanks everyone for coming in and hanging out. This is a shorty but a goodie today. But we just wanted to, check in this week and give y'all some inspiration. Yeah, keep creating and be conscious of your waste. That's what I've been kind of like mulling over in my brain
Yeah.
this week was like last week's podcast we talked about waste.
Yep.
And I
Only
think Mike,
briefly.
Mike brought it up. Mike Russo brought up the environmental impacts of 3D printing, and it's really messed me up. Like I can't stop thinking about it. So I'm going to be reaching out to companies and talking about what we can do as a community to do something about that as well, because I think it's very important.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, I just had to get that in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to y'all next week. All right. Peace.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye now.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.